Good evening. This is Dr. Russ Court, chiropractic physician, lead physician of Dr. EMF. I'm here with Jonette Biebensheimer. She has a master's in environmental policy and procedures, as well as holding a bachelor's in science and
In biochemistry.
Biochemistry. Sorry, it all mixes together. And this is the Optimal Longevity Series, and we are excited to have you here tonight. We're going to have a great night, but first, I have to get a quick disclaimer. These statements and comments that we'll be speaking about tonight have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This information is for educational purposes only and includes recent advances in research in micronutrients. Engage, the micronutrient company, does not claim that our products diagnose, treat, cure, heal, or prevent any diseases or injuries. Engage's products do, however, address our deficiencies and provide our bodies with the nutrition we are lacking. Nothing here tonight is intended to be a substitute for treatment or a visit to your primary healthcare provider. With that out of the way, let's get started.
Let's get started. Dr. Prasad, you're going to need to unmute yourself. I had to mute everybody. Thank you. All right.
I guess first we need to ask Dr. Prasad, how are you recovering from your Vegas adventure?
Well, and I had Vegas. My wife first developed the influenza A, and then I got infected, and so I'm recovering from influenza A.
Oh,
I guess we're the only ones who didn't get sick.
My son didn't get sick at all, and so I would, myself and my wife always share coffee together from the same cup. So she got first. So probably I got infected from her. So
nice of her to donate the bug.
Yeah. But
So-
anyway, I'm doing well. But
Good.
you can see this, my voice is not normal, but still.
Best we can tonight.
we are. And so tonight's call, I've got a few people I've got to let in the waiting room. So let me get them all in. So tonight's call is going to be, this is one of the ones Dr. Prasad requested, back to basics. And I think it's really important because it really is miraculous, where we started. And I wanted for everybody on here that may not know this, we've been taking product for nearly 8 years and we had one product. And it took a really long time for him to develop this product. So I'm going to pull up that, and it's important to go back to that, it's
Yes.
So this is Dr. Prasad. Walk us through. Why is that so small? Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Can you see that? Dr. Prasad, why don't you walk us through how long it took to make your original formulation?
It took, as you can see, that we had started in 2001, ended up 2005. So it took about 5 years at least. And before that, you started it before we had another company working. And so really, by the time we got all tested and everything done, it was about 6-7 years. And also cost about, I raised money, $12.5 million from the Congress, and also $12.5 million from the private industry. So total spent was $24 million.
Did you have the formula before the Department of Defense asked you?
Yes, and I had a company called PMC, but we never tested anything, but the same formula. So that's why I remember I told you a story that when I was in Quantico, and General asked me to come there, and because the Soviet scientists, or Russian scientists really now, were visiting, who has experience of using multiple vitamin in war, in the Afghanistan war. And they claimed that they had some very good results with troops. And so through interpreter, we sat down for an hour, and after I had a few questions, but General told me before the meeting, they don't tell anything else what you have. So after the meeting, he said, can you develop a formulation, something like those guys are using it? I said, I have a better formulation than that. Then he said, you have to go and get approval from our military scientist. And as you know, that since then I gave a 17 lecture. And military scientists, as you know, are very conservative, especially with respect to antioxidant. So they used to ask all kind of nasty questions, but I answered them very nicely and politely. And at the end of the meeting, they said, yeah, you have a scientific rationale behind your product. Now you have to test it. I said, at that time, PMC didn't have any money, my previous company. So he said, go to the Congress. Then next year or so, it is more than 5 years. So next 2 years, I walked in the hallway of Congress and Senate and met the representative, both sides, and not obtained any directive for us, but they advertised the program and invited application from anybody, and we submitted it, and we got funded. So once we funded, then we started testing it, and that's the time you see the 2001.
So from the time they asked you to come to Quantico and you gave those first lectures to the time that you finally got the funding, how long was that?
2 years.
2 years. Now, folks, I want you to think about this. How blessed are we to have Dr. Prasad in our lives? Because he got told no for 2 years. He only got 2 yeses out of that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Thank you for never walking away when somebody said no. Just keep going forward.
Yeah,
We're so blessed.
I want to back up and do Dr. Prasad's accolades real quick.
Let's do
You
it.
kind of jumped ahead.
Well, we get excited.
We do get excited. And it's exciting. And it's going to get even more exciting in about 15 minutes. So with that, we're going to go back and just learn a little bit more about Dr. Prasad. Let me pull up his accolades. Dr. Port, you want to go ahead and read those?
I get so excited to read these, Jonette. It gives me great pleasure to read about Dr. Prasad and to know him and to call him a friend. Dr. Prasad was a professor at the University of Colorado School of Medicine for more than 30 years, and he was the director of vitamin and cancer research. I want you to take that little ditty and put it in your hat because we're going to talk about that later. He was also the former president of the International Society of Cancer and Nutrition. That's another feather in your hat. And he sat on the Nobel Prize. He was invited to sit on the Nobel Prize nominating committee for candidates in medicine. But Dr. Prasad was the world's first PhD radiological biologist. Why? Because he entered into the very first program ever available. It was a 7.5-year program, and Dr. Prasad finished it in 3 years, beating out all the other candidates. He discovered the anti-cancer potency of vitamin E succinate, and he also discovered butyric acid, a small fatty acid formed by fermentation of fibers in the gut, and it's also an anti-cancer agent. Dr. Prasad has published more than 32 textbooks. He has published well over 300 peer-reviewed articles, and he is listed in PubMed well over 450 times.
More than that.
Way over that. It is my honor, my humble honor to welcome you, Dr. Prasad, to our call at the Optimal Longevity Series.
Thank you, Dr. Court, and thank you, Jeanette, for having me. I always enjoy every Tuesday your program and meet engaged family member and ask any questions or hear their story. And so I'm here for that purpose.
Even when you're not feeling well.
Yeah, well, I will recover.
Well, we're going to limit how much you have to talk tonight because we're going to have some testimonies, but we do want to get to, I think, let me see. I want to go back to where it all started because we only had one product. And I think now we have a Core 4, which is going to be patented, and, your multi-micronutrient approach. But when we first started, Dr. Port used to x-ray. He was an upper cervical doctor. And so he x-rayed a lot. And so I presented this product to him many years ago to help protect his patients from the ionizing radiation. Yeah. And so that's where, it all started. So why don't we look at that first product? Because I want us to not forget that this
original product.
Here's the Well, this is the product we have now. It was in a different packaging, but this Micro Daily Original has, 24 million in research. And
Yes.
sometimes I think we forget, going back to basics, the beginning of your story, all the work that you did to get to where we are right now. For those of you that are just joining and you're joining our engaged family and you're learning more, we only had one product, and I want you to know it was life-changing. I mean, for us, we saw results that were incredible. And actually, I want to share one tidbit right now before we go into our first testimonial, Dr. Prasad. So I don't know if you remember, but I think it was, we were in Portland, and we had a lady came up, and she drove all the way from 3 hours away to share her testimony on her thyroid. And
Yes.
she had red hair, and
Yeah.
she was my hairdresser's friend. And I just reached out to her just yesterday. I was thinking of her, and she still takes the original product, and her thyroid medication is down a quarter of what it used to be.
But it's time for her to upgrade.
Hang on. But you know what? It shows the power, right, Dr. Prasad, of
Yes.
taking the original product. That's all she took of our product. And why would you change? Her whole life, since she was 19, she was on very high doses of Synthroid, and nothing helped her. She ate good. She did all the right things. And when she came in, you would have thought I was her best friend. Okay. But I didn't know her. I knew we had the same hairdresser. And that's the power of sharing one product. And I want you to know, 7 years later, she still takes that original product, 2 capsules a day. And so now she's looking at, why would I take the EMF product? Because the other one has worked so well for her. The original product is one of our best-selling products. For everybody on here, just know, that it changed a lot of lives.
Sure.
And then we now have the enhanced micronutrient formulation that we protect against both non-ionizing and ionizing radiation. So with that, I'm going to bring our first testimonial up.
Call per hand.
We will go ahead. I'm going to pull up Dwight Cox. Okay, and give me just a second. I'm pulling up everyone. I'm going to spotlight Dwight. Dwight Cox is a veteran, everyone, and he is incredible, Dr. Prasad. He's not the product super long. Let me see where he is.
All right, can you see me?
1 second, Dwight. We have a lot of people, and I'm trying to get you spotlighted. Thank you guys for bearing with me.
That's okay. I want to hear it.
I do.
Jeanette, have him to raise his hand.
I got it. Here we go. Add spotlight. All right, Dwight. Dwight Cox, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Kedar Prasad.
Hi.
And,
Hello, Dr. Prasad. Pleasure to meet you.
Dwight, we actually, on the 26th of December, we had a testimonial call. And Dwight was so articulate, sharing his incredible product testimony. Dwight, would you mind just sharing with us when you started product and really where you were before? Because I know you're in a different place now, but I want for everybody to go back. Where were you before you started product?
Wow. Thank you so much. And once again, Dr. Prasad, I can't thank you enough, and everyone that's actually here. Appreciate the forum. But where I was when I initially started was in a really great place. I'm a military vet. I'm 52 years old, 100% service connected, Marine Corps veteran, suffer from severe PTSD, major depression disorder, general anxiety disorder, bipolar disorder, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, you name it. And in July of last year, July 18, 2023, I had a massive stroke. I had the stroke actually on my job. I was a safety and security expert. I had the stroke on my job, rushed to the hospital, and didn't know I was going to actually make it or not. Did rehab, got out August the 1st. Once I got out the hospital, I had a colleague named Tony Goodsmith. He was already part of the Engaged family, and said, hey, listen, he said, my brother, he's a fellow veteran. He said, I think you ought to take these products. And I was like, listen, at this point, I'll try anything, because I was desperate. And so he told me the products, gave me the product, I ordered them immediately. I started on the products September the 1st. September 1st, I started on the products. I felt something immediate going inside my body. And the products was the Core 4. I did the Core 4, the Eye Boost, and also the Brain Boost. That's what I took. And I will tell you this, initially what happened to me was, here we go. What actually happened is that I was able to, first of all, by taking the CBD boost, I was able to come off 100% of my Seroquel, Lexapro, Xanax, all of those medications. I do not have to take them. I'm able to go into sleep. And mind you, I had PTSD with both suicidal and homicidal ideations. I have none of that right now on these products. Phenomenal. So that by itself was life-changing for me. My diabetes, my A1C was 7.6. My A1C now is 5.5. I've actually gotten that down. I had diabetic retinopathy. So I had the stroke in July. I was told that I could not go back to work. You know, they retired me in October. So I started playing golf. When I started playing golf, mind you, I could not actually track the ball. So the Eye Boost, I had to have someone to track my ball. Not even 2 weeks on the Eye Boost, I now can track the golf ball myself. I need no one to show because of my diabetic retinopathy. I was able to do that. My cholesterol, my numbers was like 224. They're now like 108. And my high blood pressure is now controlled. I was on 3 high blood pressure meds. I'm now actually on 1. So once again, I mean, to actually say, you know, the products actually work. I am a product of the product. You know, I am thankful and grateful, you know, for yourself and also, Tony Goodsmith, who actually brought me to. But even now, the being part of the Engaged family, and Beth is you know, I've fallen to Beth, and she has been a plethora of actually help, the questions I actually had. So Beth Sturtevant, you know, hats off to her too as well. But once again, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm on a mission to tell everybody about it. I got my aunt in Portland, Tennessee. She's on the call. You can't see my mom, but my mom is sitting to my left. She's actually, she's been taking the products and she's been here, been feeling great. I'm telling everybody. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. What an amazing story.
How does that make you feel, Dr. Prasad?
Yeah. Oh man, I can tell you. I will recover faster now.
So, Dwight, I have a couple questions. You're so articulate, and I want to, I mean,
Great job.
Sure.
it's excellent. So, and for those of you that don't know, he goes in to get your blood work checked often, right?
Yes.
As a veteran. And so
Yes.
you have that blood work. And did you work with your practitioners there at the VA to be able to help you do that?
So I actually went to the VA. My you know, my doctors, they were like, hey, it seems like your numbers are actually getting better. And so they asked me what was going on. And so I told them about the micronutrients. They said they couldn't believe it. So what I actually did, I had one of the cards, my drop card. So I actually gave them the drop card, and they actually took the information. Even my eye doctor, I was getting eye injections before in my eye for diabetic retinopathy. I'm not actually getting that no longer. I no longer actually need that either. And so that doctor asked for my email, and I emailed them the information too as well. So both at the VA and then even my private doctor too as well. So even my doctors are now becoming, how can I put it, fans or you know, a favor for the product to itself. So hopefully it's being spread word of mouth, you know, everywhere.
Mm.
And I just talked to someone, a veteran over in the Dominican Republic. I was supposed to be flying out there here soon, a veteran in the Dominican Republic who they have VA clinics over there, and he's having about 20,000 veterans out there in the DR. So I'm looking forward to go ahead and making that trip too. So, but once again, hey, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow, Dwight, so there's so much to unpack in your story. The stroke in of itself, Dr. Prasad, is, we've talked about just taking how the products can be able to help with the recovery of that, right?
Mhm.
And you had comorbidities of diabetes and cholesterol, you know, and mental health, which Dr. Prasad, they're metabolic health, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I just, so you take the core 4, and what else do you take?
I take the core 4, and then I take the CBD boost, and I also take the eye boost, and I take the brain boost too as well. I take that, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, Doc, about the after the stroke. I mean, I was zapped from my all of my energy. I had no energy, and so I went from taking the stroke July, still left side deficiency, was barely walking, had a real serious limp and lag, and started the products in September the 1st. October the 6th, I was out 3 times a week playing 18 rounds of golf. 18 holes of golf, 18 holes of golf, three times a week.
And how many years young are you, Dwight?
I'm 52.
Okay.
Oh, that's a baby.
Yes.
2 years young. And you know, I just want to thank you for your service. Both of us do.
Yep.
And we
Yes,
love
yes,
veterans.
definitely.
So
Thank you for
so
your
much.
service. Yes.
And without, you know, this product wasn't made for us, it was made for you. And your story for me is just so powerful.
Inspiring, inspiring.
Very inspiring.
And you're going to help a lot of people, Dwight. So what's next for you, Dwight?
And to continue this is my move. This is my new occupation in a sense. Is actually just serving others and actually just sharing this work. I mean, to actually not do it would be remiss. It would be negligent. I mean, how could you not do it? So it's one of those things where, you know, you feel inside and you just have to tell someone. So that's how I feel.
Great testimony. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwight. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you all right.
Anything else, Dr. Prasad, you want to say?
Well, no, I think again, I congratulate you. Your persistence, and you got it. And I don't think I expected that kind of dramatic effect at any time in my life about our product. But this is so dramatic, I can't believe it. But if you look at the biology, what happens while you're suffering with those things, and then how these product acts, then you say it makes sense. But question is, sometimes it makes sense, but in really human experience, it doesn't make sense. But in this case, I would say that if somebody would have said that he has this disease, do you think our product will have? I would say no, there are no data available. But when I know what is happening in his body in terms of a defects, what is going on, oxidative stress and inflammation, and I would say that it will be very effective. And intestinal dysbiosis is so important. You wouldn't believe it, how important it is for any kind of disease, any kind of health issue, including cancer. And so I think you were taking that one. And again, it is, since you had a diabetes, the collagen peptides is very good for diabetes. You know, I can explain all details when you want to, but I think it is amazing that that you did it, what I would have said possible, maybe, but never thought this extent, you know.
And lastly, the short.
Happy birthday, Dr. Prasad.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Continuing, but also in a short period of time. I mean,
Yes.
the results for him.
Yes, exactly. Another thing that I always emphasize, that if you take our product, you don't expect tomorrow you will be better. You might feel a little bit better, you know, but it takes time. It is a gradual process because your body has suffered a great deal in case of PTSD or any kind of things. It is good that you decided to take collagen, CBD, because all these medications that you're mentioning for depression and anxiety, that is a classical, I can't pronounce those many drugs, Prozac, but one of the drugs that I know that used in PTSD, I don't know the drug name, but I know their function, is called serotonin reuptake inhibitor. And this inhibitor makes sure the serotonin level, which makes you calm and quiet, is high in your cell, in your body, so that you feel relaxed. But it has toxicity. But the CBD boost has exactly the same function. She acts as an inhibitor of serotonin reuptake. Not only that, she also stimulates the production of serotonin. Not only that, she also level of dopamine in your body so that you feel happy. So it is unique CBD under that kind of condition, especially for veterans. This is absolutely yes. Because, people who, even though, like Janet, you were mentioning, I was telling you a story that even when veterans, before all these, I tested any medication, and one veteran approached us and says, "Can we try our product?" Because story is long, I will shorten it. And he said, "Well, we don't know effectiveness because we have not tested it." And so he said, I asked my previous company CEO, they sent 3 months supply, free. And we sent it, and he had a service in the military. He was 35, 36-year-old with full uniform. And he said, since he came from war in Iraq, he's married with his wife. He owned a dealership of car. And then he said he will get married for no reason on his associates. But since after taking 3 months, he's now extremely pleasant fellow because he sleeps nicely, he doesn't have any night. So that's the first evidence I saw that even before testing all these things, that we have now many components which are equally important. But at that time, it was just original micro daily. So I think I'm happy that you took all, because disease process is multifactorial. You will have one, if you take just one, it will have some good, but not optimal good.
Great job, Dwight.
Well, hang on, I want to go over some of these. People are on here saying, Dwight, for you. Mary Sunshine, this is an amazing testimony. So happy to hear. Sis Belinda wrote, great testimony. Mike and Nancy Nichols, thank you for sharing, Dwight. And I'm going to say this, Nurse Monica Andrusco, she was actually Nurse of the Year in the Northwest for the VA.
Wow.
She wrote on here, amazing, in all capital letters. So happy for you and sharing with us. Thank you for your service and for your commitment to serving others. She also wrote, it seems that the secret is to go for the gusto, okay? And great insights to boost the system for faster results. And she's an incredible, she's on the other end of the VA, serving. But I mean, to hear these excellent follow through, Dwight, by Beth. But I just want to thank you, Dwight. I mean, I just see great things for you, and you're going to change a lot of lives. So thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Dwight.
Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, who's our next guest?
I'm pulling them up, but we're having all these people entering. So every time I do, I kind of get.
This is great. Thanks for telling all your friends
Yes.
to come on to the
Okay.
Optimal Longevity Series.
All right.
Yes.
So I'm going to. So Dwight, can you raise your hand, because I have to take you off. Let me see. I'll get.
Special shout out to Dr. Crokin. Nice to see you.
Diane Nichols, you can unmute or get yourself off of video. You can add yourself to video, and I've got to find Dwight.
Kirsten Klug, great to see you.
My hand is raised.
Thank you. Let me see if I can do it this way. Perfect. Thank you, Dwight.
Thanks, Dwight.
Oh,
All right, and then yeah, Diane is add to spotlight. And hi, Diane.
Hi.
And then
Nick and Nancy are in the waiting room.
here what they are. Okay. And add spotlight. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with me. All right, I did it. Woohoo! Okay. Dr. Prasad, I'd like to introduce you to Mike and Dr. Nancy Nichols on the right-hand side, and then Diane Nichols, Mike's daughter. And so we wanted this testimony because it's a powerful, nice to see you, Diane. Mike, why don't you tell us when you started product and what happened and where you are today? And then we're going to hear back from Dr. Nancy and Diane, because this is.
And don't sugarcoat it, okay? Because this is a big deal. So tell the truth and stop being so modest.
All right.
Go ahead. You're on mute. You have to unmute yourselves.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
8 weeks ago, I started taking the
Magic lemonade, the micro daily.
the micro daily. Somebody doesn't like it being called something else. And an hour after I took that, I was up on a power pole, stepping off of a ladder onto a platform. And the ladder fell, and I fell too, right on top of the ladder, about 15 feet, and bounced and onto the ladder again. So obviously a lot of pain. And somebody came up to me and said, "Are you okay?" And I said, the only thing I said was ambulance. So the ambulance crew was not nice. They didn't care about my broken bones or anything else. And so got into the ER, and I had a fractured hip bone, fractured femur, left side. On the right side, broken pelvis in two places, broken sacrum, and 2 broken ribs, and a lot of cuts and abrasions and contusions, you name
Didn't you have a couple broken vertebrae too?
it. Just the sacrum.
Just the sacrum. That's all.
Sacrum. Yeah, yeah.
The femur was shattered.
Yeah, the femur was shattered.
Splintered.
Splintered. So the next day, I had surgery. They replaced the hip with the new joint, and they had to wrap a bunch of wire around my femur because it was splintered to hold it all together. Even though I was in a lot of pain, I was still taking the micro daily. Somebody right here was making me take it, and I'm really grateful. In the hospital.
So you had your first dose just a couple of hours before you fell.
Like an hour before.
First dose ever.
Yes.
It's awesome.
So Nancy had started taking it like a week before, and she says, "You're gonna take this." And I was like, "Okay." So I was in the hospital for a week. They wanted to put me into rehab, and we said no. We were coming home. So I was home and did a lot of PT, did a lot of the Core 4, the CBD boost, brain boost, eye boost. And Dr. Court and Jet, because you were here along with Mary Sunshine, come to my house to help me heal.
How many days after your fall did we come and see you?
10 days.
I think it was 10.
Maybe.
10 days.
Maybe. I don't really remember
It was
for
like
sure.
8 or 10 days. Yep.
Because it was kind of foggy for a while, if you know what I mean. I slept a lot, didn't do much moving around. But I'm telling you, right now, 8 weeks later, I am up. I can move around. And while I still use a crutch for walking and stuff like that. My walker that I've been so dependent upon is kind of sitting over against a wall. Maybe I'll use it once in a while, but very little pain anymore. And I'm just, wow. And the doctors are just like, you should not even really be doing anything. They still have me on touch with my left foot only. And Sometimes we don't listen to doctors. I'm getting along pretty good.
So Mike, how many
Pretty good.
years young are you?
I am 68.
Okay. And you broke a lot of bones. And did you take any pain medication?
When I left the hospital, I took no medication.
So that was the Micro Daily Core 4 and the CBD you used to help manage pain. That's an incredible story.
I think for like 1 or 2 days, I took a muscle relaxant. But then I was like, no. It was making me too, it was giving me bad dreams and stuff like that.
Right.
And
So Diane, you were there.
So hang on. Let's the reason why the family's here is that they got to see what happened and the trauma of this injury and to see him heal. Okay. So I wanted, Diane, where were you? And when you got the phone call that your dad had just fallen.
Oh, this is such a great story.
Okay. And we're going to weave back in on why you're on this call.
Okay. Yeah, I was flying from Guatemala. I live in Iowa. Actually, I only live about 20 minutes from where Dr. Prasad went to college. So, but anyway, I was flying from Guatemala to Iowa, and I landed in Dallas. And as I landed, I turned my phone off of airplane mode, and I found out that my dad had fallen from a ladder. And at the time, it was a 20-foot ladder. Nobody knew what was going on, and I went into instant fear and panic. And I couldn't get through to Nancy because she was actually still in the emergency room, and I didn't want to bother her. She needed to be there for my dad. And it's pretty ironic that my dad only lives an hour and a half from where I landed. And so I grabbed my luggage. I was flying internationally, so you have to pick your luggage up at your first landing point when you come back into the States. So I had everything there, and I had another relative come and pick me up and drove me to my dad's. And I got to the hospital about 2 o'clock in the morning and kind of found out what was going on. And I didn't know anything about this or anything like that, because they had just started taking it. But I remember Nancy pushing the box to me, and she's like, "Oh, we take this magic lemonade stuff," and she kind of pushed it to me. And the only thing that I seen on there was that EMF, and that was the thing that drew me in. I seen that EMF protection on there, and I do a lot of things to kind of mitigate in my own personal life, so I took it. And I also, like Dwight, beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing that. Sent some instant results with taking Micro Daily, but that's for another time. But I watched and observed my dad. I went from it was very scary, like Jet, you mentioned, it was traumatic, it was scary. And I'd been traveling all day long, and I was exhausted, and I was in fear, and I didn't know what I was going to do, or how am I going to get home, or am I going home? Is my dad alive? Just all of the things. But just being able to be there is like the universe just put me right where I needed to be at the right time. Because another really cool thing was that when I went there to be with my family and help my dad and be of service to my dad and my mom, Jet and Dr. Court and Mary Sunshine were all there, and I got influxed with the ability to meet you guys, and then to watch my dad progress so quickly. I can't tell you how many times a different doctor or the physical therapist was like, he is 3 weeks ahead of where he should be. And just quickly seeing the results of this, and then meeting everybody, and then getting on these calls and hearing more about it, it's definitely been life-changing for our family. I'm very, very, very grateful. So thank you so much, Dr. Prasad. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And you, Miss Nancy, Dr. Nancy, thank you, Diane, for sharing. It was traumatic for her. I mean, Mike is being really humble. I mean, this is a life-threatening, a lot of broken bones, very severe, and how fast we can heal at any age if we have the building blocks. So Dr. Nancy, why don't you wrap up the story and button it up for us? How has you were on the product a week before. He had his first product. What was, for you, what was this really like, this situation, and now how he's doing with your busy schedule? Explain to me what's next for you as well.
I had been taking what I call the magic lemonade because I wasn't acquainted enough to know what it was. I just know that Mary Sunshine gave me one packet and I instantly felt better. I knew that was for me. That was what my body needed. And by a week late, and immediately got on the program, became an affiliate, and immediately, let me make sure my volume's up. And so I started with the product for real, the Core 4, just a few days before Mike's accident. And of course, tried to get him on it. Well, he was pretty reluctant because that's the kind of guy he is. But he did. He started taking it literally within an hour and a half of all of those x-rays. And he had x-ray after x-ray and CAT scan and all of that. And then when Diane arrived, her job was to go home and get this is what it looks like. Go get the magic lemonade. We got to get it in him. And that was, I think, like at 2 o'clock in the morning. So we really did stay very, very loyal to making sure Mike got all of it was the Core 4, but very rapidly we added the CBD, we added the eye boost, the digestive boost. What else? Another boost. We boosted everything that we could. And really, from one day to the next, you could see tremendous improvement. Mike, it was his left hip that the ball of the femur was completely shattered. You couldn't recognize it as a ball. I saw the CAT scan, and then the femur was splintered. So there was that concern on the left side, and he explained some of the other concerns, but also he had his right hand. He couldn't write. He couldn't write for several weeks because of the tremor. Brain boost, that's what we added. And now his almost everything is, like he said, back to normal. Probably he's about 6 months ahead of the realistic expectations that he was given considering his age. And every single person who's on this, I truly want to thank you. I truly want to thank Mary Sunshine and Dr. Shirley McKellar, who brought this product to us. For Jed and Dr. Court, thank you. And most of all, thank you, Dr. Bouchard, for giving me my husband back.
Thank you. Thank you very much, both of you. And I think I'm glad that you're feeling better because of our product. And Engaged Family is phenomenal family, and they do and spread this message to all over the place. So I'm grateful you are playing important role in fulfilling my mission, which is improve public health as much as we can.
One of the things that really helps is that this is nothing but family. Everybody treats each other with respect and dignity. And when somebody tells a story, it's like you see all kinds of hearts come up and thumbs up and stuff like that. And it's not about who can outdo the next person. It's about healing and feeling good. And we all do that together. And it's like you can't pick your family, but this is a great family.
Yes.
And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Nancy, congratulations. Is she HA2?
HA1.
HA1. Yeah. So even with all this stuff, you went on to start a business, build a business, get HA1 last month, and
Well, she just shared. I mean, she got 5 enrollments because how can you not? It's, you know, and I think Diane took herself off, but I want you, for everyone on here, this was traumatic. And we saw him just a few days after this, when he got home, and to see him heal Dr. Prasad. And I want to say this for everybody on here as we're going to transition to the core 4, that when you have these building blocks, it doesn't matter whether it's a stroke, you know, or a very severe injury. You can heal at any age, okay? On this, and I thought that this would be a really good way to start the beginning of the year, back to basics, right, Dr. Prasad?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I mean, most of the physicians who treat these kind of does one approach at a time. For example, you take medication, or you take even just taking micronutrient alone. Suppose if you take micronutrient alone, like you mentioned, it will do some good. But if you don't take probiotics with prebiotics, not only the effectiveness of drug which you are taking will be reduced, but also it will not further improve the effectiveness of micronutrient. So the correcting the intestinal dysbiosis, reversing to a point where you have a more beneficial bacteria than harmful bacteria. And this is very important. And then comes collagen peptides. Nobody knew collagen peptides can help diabetes, but there is a clinical study showing that collagen peptide does by some different mechanism. And one of the drugs that is FDA approved drug does the same thing with toxicity, but collagen peptide has no toxicity. It does exactly the same. It improves the flow of insulin from pancreas to the blood. And so then comes the omega-3. Omega-3 is important, absolutely essential fatty acid for your body that your body does not make it. And so you rely totally on diet. And your diet is, if you are vegetarian, it gets only EPA. And EPA is converted to omega-3 very, very gradually, very small amount. So you take a supplement. And important is that it not only improve your brain function. For example, one of the major function of collagen is to maintain a structural integrity of all organ, because 30% of your total body protein is collagen. So it is present every place. So if you lose from the skin, you can see it. But if you are losing from the heart or brain, you are not seeing it. But it is shrinking. And therefore, that can affect the function of the heart, function of the in a brain. And actually, it was shown that in a Alzheimer brain by PET scanning, when they saw that, yeah, in Alzheimer cases, they shrink. And then they did a clinical study with collagen peptide, and they found that not only a structural improvement occurs in the brain, but also improve the memory function. So people don't realize that, you know, when you take a collagen peptides, you don't see this kind of benefit. Not only that, another most important benefit for collagen, which is applicable to insulin resistance cases. Even if you have insulin resistant case, then how the glucose is going to be utilized. And if you don't utilize glucose, you can generate energy. So what it does, like insulin, when it is functioning, it goes and binds to the receptor in a normal way, normal cell, and then receptor will activate another protein called AKT. When they get activated, they send a message to the glucose transporter protein 4, which is lying idle in the cytoplasm, just that you come to the cell surface membrane. So she migrates from the cytoplasm to the cell surface membrane of the cell, and then allow entry of the glucose into the cell to generate energy. Without activation of AKT, you cannot ask glucose to come in and generate energy. And so the major function of the omega-3 is that it directly, so even if you're insulin resistance, it functions as an insulin because it directly activates AKT, and then glucose transporter protein migrates to the cell surface and allow glucose to come in the cell.
you know, Dr. Prasad just gets, you know, he's so bright. I was like gonna put up the core 4 and he was already on to the next slide, right? So I've got to show that. But we're gonna wrap up with Diane. Thank you. I thank you again, Diane. Very special. And Dr. Nancy and Mike, we look forward to seeing you here shortly. And we're really grateful to be in your lives and that you're healing so fast. But it's just such a great example of how we can heal when we have the building blocks available, right, Dr. Prasad?
Yes,
And it
exactly.
doesn't matter if it's a stroke or a severe injury.
Anything.
Anything.
It is provided good nutrition, good health, and most importantly, it reduces oxidative stress and inflammation, which are the major cause of everything you think of, your ill health.
Excellent.
I was just going to ask you to say that. I just thought it and you said it.
Yes.
Anyway, my brother,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Prasad.
Thank you, Mike and Dr. Nancy. I'm going to remove the spotlight, but
Yeah, thank you very
again.
much indeed.
Yes.
Thank you. Great testimony.
Okay, we're gonna woohoo. I know, I told you it was a good one tonight, everyone. And they're so personal when you get to see people get their lives back, you know?
Tell you what, when I saw his hip for the first time, it was like, oh.
And he's dancing. So
Scars like this long on his leg.
hang on, the preview was him dancing. For those of you that missed it, he was up dancing, which is incredible. We're gonna pull up the core 4, Dr. Prasad, because people are like, what products were they taking? Right? What products were they taking? And I go, so here they are. Why don't you walk us through real quick?
Okay, micro daily EMF, which is in capsule form or hydro form. The difference is that hydro form is absorbed quickly. So if you have acute health issues, it's a good idea to take micro daily hydro because they will be quickly absorbed and quickly distributed through all your organs. And since most of your ill health is related to oxidative stress, one of the major functions of micro daily EMF is to reduce at the same time both oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, which are causing all kinds of health issues. Then you have probiotics. But probiotics is very important because as you grow older, with or without disease, but micro daily has disease, the composition of bacteria in the intestine changes in favor of a toxic bacteria, harmful bacteria. We call them intestinal dysbiosis. So if you have the intestinal dysbiosis, those toxic bacteria produce a lot of toxic chemicals, including pro-inflammatory cytokines, which get absorbed and gradually or will damage all your organs. So if you are treating with any kind of disease by medication, and if you don't take care of, if you don't reverse the intestinal dysbiosis, the first question is how you reverse it, because it is so important. It is associated with all diseases, cancer, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, you name it, it is associated. So the question is, how do you reverse it? Well, if you take a probiotics with prebiotics, they shift the balance in favor of beneficial bacteria, which maintain your healthy gut and then produce a lot of beneficial molecules such as vitamin K, some B vitamins, neurotransmitter, all kind of good stuff. Short chain fatty acid, which is also anti-cancer agent. So it is very important to reverse it for even though if you don't have disease, but if you are going older, this is a must. So, but antioxidant microdelia can't reverse it. You have to have a microdaily EMF. It cannot do it. Now, the third one is the omega-3 fatty acid. Again, omega-3 fatty acid, microdaily cannot replace essential fatty acid that your body needs it because your body does not make it. You totally rely on the outside in the diet, from the diet. And diet, vegetarian diet has EPA, which is one of the omega-3 components, but it is not as effective for improving your brain function as the DHA and EPA. And so it is very important to remember that. So we think that second most important, the third most important is omega-3 fatty acid. The omega-3 fatty acid, I mentioned the benefit. It is essential fatty acids. You must have it. And it has many functions that I mentioned it. And the core 4 collagen peptide is very harmless. Many clinical studies have been done, and they found that anywhere from 10 to 12 range, you don't want to overdo it. Then don't take it, because you have to take this all your life. Therefore, if you take an excessive amount for a few days, is okay, but not for. So we recommend that you take about 10 to 12 grams per day, every day. And if as a need basis, sometimes we can take it twice a day, but over long run, we recommend 1 liter. Only place we don't recommend collagen peptide if you have a cancer. And the reason is because when you have a cancer, your immune cell sends one type of cell to kill tumor cell. It's called tumor cell killing T lymphocytes.
Mm.
But what collagen peptide does is block the entry of that cell in the tumor environment. So tumor doesn't get any, patient doesn't get benefit of immune system help in terms of reducing the growth of the cancer. And so we said, no, any kind of during treatment, after treatment, before treatment, if you have a cancer, don't take collagen peptides. The collagen peptide, I mentioned, has many functions. You look younger. Of course, that's the main reason people are taking it. You look younger, but you forget the other important function is that it maintains the structural integrity of all your organs. So this, you have to remember it. That's it. Anything else, Jonah?
Yes, I just want to go over the micro daily EMF and micro daily hydro is a 2-a-day dose based off of your groundbreaking US patent for
Right.
the original product. But
Yeah.
it is patent pending. And we're expecting that patent because the children's gummy
Yeah.
that was already patented to protect us against 5G.
Right.
So the micro daily EMF hydro or capsules is patent pending.
Yes.
Probiotic daily is patent pending.
Yes.
Omega-3 daily is patent pending, and our collagen daily is patented.
Yes.
Grass-fed, gluten-free, dairy-free, glyphosate-free, and it's an excellent product. And so we found out that you're looking at patenting the core 4. Dr.
Yes.
Prasad.
Yes, we are going to do that. Yeah. And
So-
with a
Not worried,
combination of
we
core
are
4,
going to do it.
core
But-
4 will be also mentioned as specific for example, for Alzheimer, and at least for diabetes is a must. Those 2 diseases will be mentioned, this core 4.
All right, well, we're coming to the hour, Dr.
Yes.
Prasad. So
Yes.
what did you think about the testimonies tonight?
That's amazing. That's more productive than just my talking.
You know what?
I had a question about a benign tumor.
Yeah, and so for this call, we don't do specific.
Well, he's right there, and he just talked about the collagen. He said, Dr. Prasad, you said we don't take the collagen with cancer, but
Right.
we just had somebody ask, what about if you have a benign tumor?
No matter what.
No matter what, there's your answer.
All right. So I want you guys to get back to the person that invited you on this call and say you're ready to get started, whether it's today, right? Or when you see this on YouTube. You can watch us on TeamServe and on the Optimal Longevity series on YouTube. And then next week, Dr. Prasad, it's a hot topic. It's in the news everywhere. And Dr. Prasad is an expert on diabetes. So
Yes.
next week, we are going to be talking about both prevention and improvement for the treatment of diabetes.
Yes.
And Dr. Prasad has a brand new 2024 paper
Yes.
that just recently published, and he has a textbook coming out on diabetes. But this is a really hot topic because we have many people that are using a lot of
Exactly.
insulin-resistant GLP-1 types of drugs, and there's a lot of consequences to that. But diabetes is on the rise.
Yeah.
I'm in the Middle East. The
Everywhere.
numbers are
India.
incredible.
I know India for sure.
China,
China.
huge in China. Number 1 in China.
Yeah.
Latinos, number 2
Yeah.
in our society.
Okay.
So see you next week with diabetes, Dr. Prasad, and thank you so
Yes.
much, everyone. If you want to unmute, we can thank him.
Dr. Prasad, I want to thank you for being here, even though you didn't feel well.
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
suggest the hydro and hot tea just so you know.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Prasad.
Little hydro there, Kadar.
Thank you, Dr.
Well,
Prasad. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Dr.
Joanne. Thank you, Dr. Court. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr.
Special
Court.
guests.
thank you.
Thank you to all
Thank
our
you.
special guests.
How do
Thank
we
you,
get a
Dr.
recording of
Prasad.
this?
Thank you,
Everybody.
Mary
Dr. Court,
Sunshine,
can
for
you- Thank you.
Thank you.
giving us the invitation to these people.
Good night. Good night,
Good
everyone.
Good night,
night.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you
Good night.
very much.